welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Vlogmas. Today I'm going to be showing you my family's holiday movie collection. First up, we have White Christmas. This is actually my mom's, but it's our tradition to watch it every year. If you don't know anything about this movie, it's about two sisters who, through some circumstances, end up on a train with two best friends, and they find themselves coming together and putting on a spectacular Christmas show at this cute inn in Vermont. That's a very simplified version, but it is a classic. You have Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, Vera Allen, a lot of songs, a lot of dancing, the classic song White Christmas. Next up is a stack of movies that's kept in my brother's room. First up is A Christmas Carol. This is the animated movie starring Jim Carrey. This is, of course, based on the classic written by Charles Dickens, all about Ebenezer Scrooge and his journey to discover his Christmas spirit. Speaking of Christmas spirit, The Night Before. Not my favorite. My brother loves it. This has Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Seth Rogen, and Anthony Mackie. This movie is about three best friends who are going into adulthood, and they kind of want to have one last hurrah before they're all, family men and too busy to go out and be foolish on Christmas. Obviously, crazy things happen, but in the end, they're all together, and that's all that matters. I watched it once. It was okay, but it's just not my thing. Next up is Fred Claus. I love anything to do with Vince Vaughn. In this movie, he plays Fred Claus, the brother of Santa Claus, played by Paul Giamatti. He's lived in his shadow his whole life because his brother is just seemingly perfect. He's jolly old Saint Nick. He travels back home. I think it's because Santa is not feeling so great. His health isn't doing well, and it's an opportunity for him to mend that relationship and really rediscover the importance of family. Paul Blart Mall Cop starring Kevin James. This is, of course, about a mall cop who takes his duties seriously. No one takes Paul Blart seriously because of the way he looks, but he's very passionate about his job, and of course, he's the hero that saves the day at the end of the movie. Deck the Halls. This one stars Danny DeVito and Matthew Broderick. To be honest, my brother and I have fallen out of love with this one over the years. I guess when we were younger, we could overlook the fact that it wasn't that great, but it just hasn't held up over the years. It's about two neighbors who are competing to see whose house is the jolliest and the brightest on the block, and the competition gets out of hand, of course, and affects their family lives. Just doesn't do it for us anymore, but we're hanging on to it just in case. Classic. Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen. This is the very first one. And then, of course, Santa Claus 2. If you think I'm about to pull out Santa Claus 3, you're wrong, because we don't talk about Santa Claus 3. We wish we could talk about it, but we can't. We're just gonna pretend like this is a duology and move on with our lives. This one is about Scott Calvin becoming Santa Claus. This one is about Santa Claus needing to find a wife by, I believe, Christmas Eve. More eggnog? Don't mind if I do. Next up is Christmas with the Cranks. This also stars Tim Allen along with the Scream Queen herself, Jamie Lee Curtis. This couple decides that for once, they're going to avoid the hustle and bustle of the holiday season and go on a cruise. Then, their daughter surprises them on Christmas Eve, saying she's coming back home with her new boyfriend. And they have 12 hours to decorate and pull together their annual Christmas Eve party. It's crazy, it's hilarious, and this one has stood the test of time. Alvin and the Chipmunks. If you don't know the classic story, it's about a guy who adopts three chipmunk brothers, and get this, they have untapped potential as singers, and it turns out that they are music sensations. Elf, starring Will Ferrell. Buddy the Elf was taken in by elves in the North Pole, but he's always felt out of place because obviously he is not their size. His father finally tells him the truth about being adopted, and he goes on a journey to the human world to find his real dad, which he does. But it takes a while to mend that relationship This is a newer one, Why Him? I saw this for the first time last year. This stars Bryan Cranston as a dad who is meeting his daughter's boyfriend for the first time. That would be James Franco. He's a typical dad. He's overprotective and he's not sure about this guy because, you know, he's a free spirit, shall we say. I was actually surprised at how much I loved this one. I wasn't sure if it was going to be for me, but I actually really enjoyed it and it was hilarious. Next up, Jingle All the Way, which stars the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is about a father who has neglected buying a present for his son, and what his son wants most of all is the trendy toy of the season. And of course, he's waited so long that now it's sold out everywhere. Obviously, a crazy journey ensues with him trying to find just one of these. I can't even remember what it is. It's like a robot or something. I don't know. Some kind of superhero action figure thing that talks. This one's really heartwarming. It's not like the best thing ever made, but it's good. You should definitely give it a try at least once. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, starring Chevy Chase. This one is so funny. This character just really wants the perfect Christmas, and no matter how hard he tries, everything goes wrong. His family is trying to get him to lighten up. It's okay if something doesn't go his way. They don't need to have, you know, the biggest tree. They don't need to have the brightest lights. All that matters is they're together. But he is just determined to have the best Christmas ever. This is definitely a favorite in my household. So good. So funny. Absolute classic. The last one in my brother's stack is one of our absolute favorites. Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon. It's about a couple who really don't want to go to the trouble of spending Christmas with their families because both of them have blended families. Their parents are divorced, so there's her dad's family, her mom's family, his dad's family, his mom's family. They plan to be out of the country for the holidays. They get stuck because of a storm, and now they have to visit their families. Four Christmases. The results are absolutely hilarious. I don't know if anyone else loves it, but we love it. It is one of our favorites. We have to watch it every year. We have now made it to my stack of movies, which calls for another sip of eggnog because you're in for a real treat. A lot of cheesy holiday goodness. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I can't even remember if this one specifically takes place during Christmas, but of course there's the classic line about Narnia being stuck in winter, always winter, never Christmas, because of the White Witch. This is based on the classic book written by C.S. Lewis. It is about the four Pevensey siblings. They are evacuated from their home during World War II and placed into the large home of a professor where they will be safe. During a game of hide and seek, the little sister discovers a magical world through a wardrobe. That begins this grand adventure of the world of Narnia, animals that talk, witches, and a battle between good and evil. Scooby-Doo. I don't know if you know this about me. I love Scooby-Doo. So naturally, I needed the Christmas cartoons. This is actually just a compilation DVD. These are all just Christmas-themed episodes of What's New Scooby-Doo. They're just cute. What else can I say? Love Actually. This is set in England, and it's just about a bunch of strangers whose lives connect in various ways. There's a lot of love and heartbreak. One of my favorite scenes is the one where Hugh Grant is dancing and singing. Love it. There's so many big names in this movie. Hugh Grant, Liam Neeson, Colin Firth, Emma Thompson, Alan Rickman, R.I.P., Keira Knightley, Rowan Atkinson. I'm pretty sure this is on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, you have no excuse. This one isn't even unwrapped, but I have watched these movies on TV. I just never unwrapped the DVD. This has His and Her Christmas, which I actually haven't watched in a while. It's not like my absolute favorite. And then Will You Marry Me? That's one I really like. This one is about two newspaper writers, and they both have, I think it's like advice columns, and they're kind of competing, but of course they fall in love and live happily ever after. Will You Marry Me is about a Jewish girl who is marrying a Gentile. She celebrates Hanukkah, he celebrates Christmas, their families come together, and they're just trying to make it work with two holidays. It's fantastic for people like me who celebrate both. Here's another double feature, The Road to Christmas and Recipe for a Perfect Christmas. In The Road to Christmas, a photographer is stranded on the way to her wedding, and she ends up having to catch a ride with this guy and his daughter. She's kind of used to a very glamorous world. She's a photographer who deals with a lot of models. She's successful. They're driving in a beat-up pickup truck, staying in motels in the middle of nowhere. So it's a little bit of a culture shock for her, but the love story is so cute. Recipe for a Perfect Christmas. Wow, love this one. It's about, I think she's a magazine writer, and the love interest is a chef. I don't know if it's a brand new restaurant, but he's been trying to get them to come try his food because he believes it's the absolute best. I want to say it's like a Greek restaurant. Finally, he gets her to try his food. Things happen. They fall in love. The end. Obviously, there's a lot more, but it is so adorable. Holiday Switch. This is another one of my favorites. This is about a woman living that glamorous domestic life. She's a mother. Her kids are everywhere. She has to get them to this place and that place. Her house is a mess. Her husband does some kind of like construction work or something like that. She finds herself not satisfied and wondering what would have happened if she had married this rich guy. I can't remember how she knew him in the past. She ends up in this alternate universe where she married that rich guy and she's living this glamorous life. Of course, it's not as great as she thought it would be, and she tries to find out how she can get back. Love's Christmas Journey. This is from the Love Comes Softly series. Absolutely love those movies. This is about a woman who lost her husband and daughter, and she's still mourning them. Something happens in the town. I believe it's a fire, and she kind of plays detective trying to figure out what happened. Through this investigation, she meets and starts to develop feelings for I believe he's the sheriff's deputy. This is just a really sweet, like, time period kind of movie, and it's just really heartwarming. Next up is actually one of my only Hanukkah movies besides Will You Marry Me? This is Maccabees, The Story of Hanukkah, an animated hero classics. I don't know if anyone will remember these, but I do. They're from Nest Entertainment. This is great if you want to teach kids about Hanukkah because it's animated, it's not that long, and it's very easy to understand. I absolutely love this. And since it's like one of the only Hanukkah movies I own, I don't even know how many Hanukkah movies are out there. It's very treasured in my heart. This is another Christmas Carol adaptation, a Flintstones Christmas Carol. Another thing you may not know about me, I love the Flintstones. This one is all about Bedrock putting on a Christmas Carol play. Fred is the star of it, and he starts to resemble Scrooge because he's so caught up in being the star. Much like Scrooge, he has to go through facing himself and the mistakes he's made and decide whether or not he's going to change for the better. Another one of my favorite Lifetime Christmas movies, Comfort and Joy. This one is about a successful businesswoman who ends up in an alternate universe where she's married and living a simple domestic life. And she's so confused because she's got this loving husband and 2 kids, and she's like, what is this? I'm a successful businesswoman. I don't remember you people. Why am I here? She basically learns that there's more to life than just working and striving for more money. This one's good. The ending is perfection. It's so cute. The Christmas Card. I absolutely love this one. So this girl writes a Christmas card to someone in the military. It's part of one of those programs where you just write a letter and they hand them out. You don't necessarily know who you're sending it to. It's just for the purpose of everyone coming together and sending as many letters as you can so everyone gets something for Christmas. She sends a really nice note and a picture of her hometown. Well, this guy decides he's going to find who sent that card, and he does. She doesn't know that he's the one who got her card. Her family's very welcoming. I believe her dad's a veteran, so he gets along with him right away, and they invite him into their home. They start to fall in love, even though she's got a boyfriend who's a jerk, by the way, because that's how this happens. The boyfriends are always jerks, and they go away at some point. Thank God. This movie is so cute, and eventually she does find out about the card, and oh, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It's so good. Moonlight and Mistletoe. In this one, a daughter returns home after many, many years. She's a successful businesswoman who's tried to forget about her past because her family owns this place called Santaville. It's like Christmas year-round, but it's a big deal. During the holidays, her dad's Santa, and they have like all these Christmas festivities and a store and all that, and they're struggling. Well, she comes back after all these years trying to forget all about Christmas. She basically doesn't really like Christmas at this point in her life, but she goes back to try and help her dad save the business, and someone from her past is there as a toy maker. They start to fall in love. It's magical and cheesy. Another one of my TV favorites. Absolutely love it. I think this one's Hallmark. Holiday in Handcuffs, starring Melissa Joan Hart and Mario Lopez. I absolutely love this movie. It's crazy, but also like super romantic. It's about this woman who's so desperate to please her family that she actually kidnaps a guy to pretend to be her boyfriend. It sounds psycho, but it ends up being romantic among all the dysfunctional stuff going on. Old-fashioned Thanksgiving. I absolutely love this movie and the sequel, Old-Fashioned Christmas. I just don't own that one yet. If you're a fan of Little Women, you should like this movie and the sequel because they're based on a short story by the same author. This movie is about a family who is struggling financially. The grandmother comes into town and she's well off and she wants to help, but the mom is really stubborn at first. She doesn't want to accept charity, but of course eventually she allows her to help out. There's also romance because one of the daughters, Tilly, I believe her name is, her best friend comes back into town and there is a definite connection between them, but she is so determined to be independent and travel, and she just isn't sure about tying herself down yet. It's just a fantastic time period movie. Oh my gosh, so good. I know I'm wearing a different outfit. That is because it is a different day. There are a few more movies that I found that I didn't have when I filmed this video. So I'm going to show them to you quickly. The Holiday with Cameron Diaz, Kate Winslet, Jude Law, and Jack Black. This is about two women who decide to switch homes for the holidays. One ends up in this cute little cottage in the UK, and the other ends up in, I believe it's Los Angeles, in a giant mansion. And both of them end up finding love, and it's adorable. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, starring Steve Martin and John Candy. This is actually a Thanksgiving movie. It's about two men trying to get home for Thanksgiving, and they end up together doing whatever it takes. And a lot of hilarious things happen because they're two very different people. Steve Martin is a lot more uptight, businessman kind of guy, and John Candy's character is very laid back and chill. It's a hilarious movie that ends in a very heartwarming way. Office Christmas Party. This stirs a heck of a lot of people. So maybe you can see some names you recognize on there. Most importantly, Jason Bateman. He's like one of my favorite comedic actors ever. This is about an office Christmas party and things get crazy. I've actually only seen this once, but I feel like my brother and I have been quoting it all year and just waiting to watch it again. I would recommend it if this is your thing. Definitely look into who's in it. It's a Jason Bateman movie, so look at his other comedies. It's gonna be along those lines. Last movie that I found that I cannot believe I forgot the other day, The Polar Express. This is the 3D cover. This is about a boy who is woken up in the middle of the night by the Polar Express in front of his house. It's a magical train that is taking kids to the North Pole to meet Santa Claus. It is magical and beautiful, and Tom Hanks voices basically everyone, and it is amazing. Last but definitely not least, this is my favorite Christmas movie of all time. I'll reveal it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't even think I have to say anything. I watch this movie every Christmas Eve. It never fails to make me cry. It's about the story of Christmas, the true meaning of Christmas. The actors in it are fantastic and it's powerful. In my opinion, this is hands down the best nativity movie out there. I hope you enjoyed seeing my family's holiday movie collection. I would love to hear about your collection down below in the comments. Tell me what your favorite holiday movie is. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that red button down below to subscribe and become a member of my YouTube family. Also, click the bell to turn on your notifications. I will see you in my next Vlogmas video. Bye!